Hey guys, I'm Ben and welcome to another episode of Underground Reviews. There are a few bands in death metal or any other genre for that matter that can claim to have a virtually perfect discography. Being able to, craft genre-defining albums that both fly the flag but also keep the fans loving and respecting the band's growth and output. Well, one of those bands is undoubtedly Yonkers, New York natives Immolation, and today we're going to have a look at their latest installment to that perfect catalogue, Acts of God. So when we talk about death metal legends, you can't go very far without talking about Immolation. Since 1991's incredible debut Dawn of Possession, and through classics and some of my personal favorites like Unholy Cult, Close to a World Below, Majesty and Decay, I love that album, and even 2017's Atonement, among all the others of course. The guys have really established themselves as one of the very best in the game and leaders of that New York death metal scene, alongside bands like Incantation and Suffocation, Mortician and bands like that. Crafting a very unique blend of insane riffing as well as excellent musicianship from everyone in the band, both pummeling and yet in their own way dark and brooding, that feels very sort of doomy without really being doom. Of course, those of you who have religious convictions, especially the Christian faith, will surely hate the lyrical content because that has been consistently anti-religion from day one, and they certainly haven't eased up the attack in their later years. However, it's always fairly cleverly put together, and it's not really satanic like their side, but just kind of anti all what they consider superstitious beliefs, especially Christianity. They did branch out into more sort of themes after Unholy Cult, but they still continue to cover that anti-religious, those themes to this day. Anyway, how does Acts of God stack up to their legendary catalogue? Have they continued with the excellent example of their previous outing, Atonement, or have they taken their foot off the gas? Let's check it out. So Acts of God opens with a short, doomy instrumental guitar intro before exploding into the, sort of like a title track called An Act of God. And immediately the familiar insanity that fans have come to love is back. Blistering riffing, some of the best growls in the business from Ross Dolan, and the drumming of Steve Shalati is instantly jaw-dropping and just so damn cool. He's really an underrated player in my opinion. They largely don't stray from this formula throughout, mixing blistering speed and absolute monolithic power and destructive menace with slower sort of doom-like passages. Well, at least Immolation's version of doom anyway. They really are a hard band to describe though to the uninitiated because, while on the surface all the sort of death metal tropes are there, Robert Wigner's riff ideas are so unique and interesting that they don't really sound like anyone else. The music is brutal in the extreme and is certainly not going to win over any non-death metal fans, but for the initiated, it's glorious, demented stuff. Some of the absolute standouts are The Age of No Light, which absolutely rips, Noose of Thorns, which is so heavy and oppressive yet epic, in a sort of dark, evil, foreboding kind of way. Again, the guitar work is excellent, and Steve has to be one of the most killer death metal drummers, as I said before, are underrated in my opinion. The guy's a beast. Blooded is another fantastic onslaught. As is overtures of The Wicked, which comes out firing like a Gatling gun. Then you got Incineration Procession, has a killer sort of moody opening riff, sort of highlighting again the unique way that Robert puts riffs together. And halfway through that one, when the lead comes in and shit gets wild, it's just fucking sick. Love it. Broken Prey also leads off with some killer riffs and later transitions into an awesome sort of grooving section. When Halos Burn is another masterclass of kick-ass brutality. And finally, the album rounds out with the equally amazing and terrifying Apostle. But really, though, I could have named every track because there really aren't any weak spots here. To top it off, the production sounds fantastic too. You can really hear and feel the definition of each instrument, and it all has a cool, natural kind of analog vibe to it, which I love. It doesn't sound too computer clicky or anything like that. Everything is super clean. So, you know, if you're one of those people who's obsessed with the Merc, that may be a problem for you, but it's certainly not a problem for me. I think it sounds great. I got to say, I'm really thoroughly impressed once again with just how Immolation keeps pumping out like the best albums of their career every time they put out an album. Another cool thing about this album is that it seems to incorporate elements from across their career as well, which is also really cool. So there's really something in there for any Immolation fan. The only criticism I have is that the runtime is pretty long at 52 minutes. So that's a lot of brutality for the eardrums to handle in one sitting. But that being said, the songs themselves are relatively short, so that does make it a bit less of an assault. However, even though the runtime is long, the songs are killer. So it's certainly not boring or brooding or, boring or loaded with filler or anything like that. This thing is an absolute banger from top to bottom. So how does it stack up with their amazing career to date? Well, I think ultimately only time will tell, but personally, I think it's right up there with my personal favorites. This is a nasty, brutal, unforgiving death metal that will grind you down to a pulp and make you drink your own desiccated remains. Amazing stuff from these absolute legends of death metal. So how would I rate this one? Well, I would happily give this one a really strong 9 out of 10. It absolutely kicks ass. And one of the best death metal albums to come out this year, in my humble opinion. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay metal, and see you next time.